By the way, Adrian, have you noticed my hat?
No, I didn't notice your hat, and I don't even know what it means. Just kidding.
The Patriots won the AFC Championship yesterday, so I pulled out one of my many championship hats and put it on. Yeah, so I had a bunch that I had ready to go. So very excited about that.
La-di-da. Congratulations.
I know. Can't wait for Sports Bowl. We call it Super Bowl, but okay. I'm excited. I'm excited. And also just for those who maybe are new, haven't joined us before, we don't talk about politics here. So just FYI. So if it seems like we're living in a delusional land, we are just today for the next 29 minutes. Plus we have a guest coming halfway through. Excited to have DB on here talking about Intori. Yeah, I just like to I feel like sometimes people might be tuning in and like, do they know what's going on in the world? Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
We do. And, but we're going to not talk about any of that today. We're going to talk about fun things that are happening on Farcaster. So that's the plan here, people. So give a little retweet, recast, let people know we are live. Adrian has a new notification system. Hopefully you got it. Did it come through?
And it didn't work on Friday. I had an issue. I fixed it this weekend. And then last night I accidentally sent a notification to 1,700 people.
Sorry.
I actually did mean to send it to 1,700 people, but it was the wrong notification. So apologies. Everyone got the, hey, we're live now.
Yeah. I know. And Brad Q immediately picked up, I don't think they're live right now. Like, no, we're definitely not live right now. I'm watching the Patriots game. But anyway, all right, everyone, we're going to get rolling. We'll be back on the other side of this 67 seconds. Welcome to GM Farcaster. Welcome to GM Farcaster, bringing you everything from breaking news to spicy memes to the deep lore shaping this vibrant digital community. More than just a show, GM Farcaster is your digital third space where the community connects, the stories unfold, and the culture thrives. Whether you're a daily caster or just dropping by, we've got the latest buzz to keep you plugged in. So grab your coffee and let's dive in with your hosts, Nanish Prof and Adrian, for another episode of GM Farcaster. This episode of GM Farcaster is powered by Clanker. Each Monday, we'll bring you the latest news from the Clanker team and highlight the builders innovating with Clanker and Farcaster. Visit Clanker.World to launch your token and check out all the new features that Clanker V4 has to offer. Thank you, Clanker, for sponsoring GM Farcaster. GM Farcaster. It is Monday, January 26th, and you are here with Nanish Prof and Adrian for 29 minutes of Farcaster news to start your day, plus a chat with DB from Intori, Donald. I don't know if it's Buellers or Bullers. Not sure how to pronounce that, but excited to chat with them and do our little Clankcaster spotlight with them. So very exciting. Did your notifications work today? We all good? Everything's good? Working good?
They worked beautifully. And yes, I'm excited. I love my new mini app.
All right. So make sure you've add the mini app on Farcaster or the base app, and you will get notifications when we are live. All right, let's dive into some things. This from our friend Burr to start us off. Mountains of snow outside. I'm screaming in my sleep every night these days. Everything is horrible. Keebler Elves, the serving size is 2 cookies, ma'am. 2 cookies. How the fuck is somebody supposed to stop at 2? I mean, she's not wrong. Like, that's a ridiculous serving size. And we just can't put up with these sorts of things in these times. We need much larger cookie sizes. And this from Ice Toad, GM memers, I'm having a lot of trouble sleeping, lady. 3 hours left to do for now, I guess. And then a chart. Shit, here we go again. So we had some flash crashes over the weekend. Good times. So if you've seen number go down a little bit, I was able to ask Banker a little bit as to why, and that was very helpful. So I recommend using your favorite agents, AI agents, on Farcaster, Banker, or Nanar, and they will help you figure out why in the world everything's going down.
And don't ask Warpy.
Don't ask
Warpy does
Warpy.
not know.
Warpy doesn't know. Warpy will only know what we tell him on this show. So
he will answer based on stuff we've talked about another previous time, and you do it today.
It will be very confusing. So don't do that. He'll be like FTX. No.
Like, yes.
No, Warpy. not this time, Warpy. Okay, moving on to Brad Q's 29 seconds of Farcaster. What did you miss this weekend? It was a slow weekend, but I would be remiss if I didn't say butt taps was a top story for the second weekend in a row. Bracky chose Driven by Boredom as the butt oracle to determine the veracity of possible butt taps in the 2 NFL games. Despite TLDR wanting a Vitalik, Rennie was the butt tap queen, spotting them left and right. It was a slow weekend of butt taps, but 6 was the final tally, paying 6 to 10 of the Bracky market. I was in there for 11, so I missed out. Here's what's interesting about this. Like, first of all, this is a sort of a side market that has been created on Bracky to count the number of times the players tap another player's butt. And they now have assigned an oracle who's a person who confirms it. So this is now built into the Bracky mini app, where if you click on, I think it says like confirm butt taps or something like that, and you click on the button, only Driven by Boredom could actually enter into that zone. So it was just an interesting new little experiment created through fun, but you can see sort of how this will iterate into other possibilities. So kind of fun. Moving on. For those now thinking we are not serious people, it was interesting to see Fred Wilson not only excited about the Nanar acquisition, but also release a mini app with Nanar App Studio that pulls music from the last 2,500 casts of your followers. Interesting. I did not see that one, and we'll have to go check it out because I'm also working on something musically. People are excited about Cloud.
You don't have notifications on for Fred Wilson, Prof?
I do not, and that is a huge mistake by me. And I will correct that mistake immediately after the show, because I don't know how I missed that one. And I was around on the weekend, so I don't know how I missed it. Very strange. I usually catch his stuff, so I will fix that. People are excited about Claudebot. I do have questions for you about this. And Scheduley jumped onto the scene with a mini app release that lets you have multiple users, multiple accounts, and schedule content. Much interest in who the team is, and they said in a reply that we would learn today. And then Patricia X. Lee shared a great video and praise for the opening of Node Foundation in Palo Alto. I missed her cast because I was pulling stuff from elsewhere. Wish I had seen it. And then we are back. So Scheduley, I went and did the things to use it, and then I paused because I'm like, I don't really want to give write permission to, I don't know who this is. So I am awaiting who is the team before I actually do it, because I wasn't feeling totally comfortable without that information. But also I'm seeing a ton of stuff about Claudebot. And have you done anything with Claude yet? With this bot, this new bot?
Not Claudebot.
So
Claudebot is CLAWD, not CLAUDE. But it's basically it's an AI agent, right? That you can just give it kind of root access to your life. And
does that sound like a good idea?
It sounds like a great idea.
Why does that sound like a good idea?
Because you can have the AI do literally everything for you. I've just been thinking about all the things I've done, even in the last few weeks. And I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm not doing it right now. I don't want to be the first one to get killed by Claudebot, but it's great. I'm super excited that everyone's
about
playing
giving
with
that
it.
much access. Like the things I would want it to do, I would have to give serious access to some things.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Go deal with the IRS is not something I think I should,
I think you can wait. I think it's primarily, I think you need to be a little bit of a more technical tinker mind, to set it all up. I think it's super cool when you see everyone get so excited about new toys. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend.
I have seen some people saying they're buying an actual, I think Rish was one of those who said they're buying a new clean computer and then starting with that so that they're not exposing it to other things. Yeah.
Yes. So this is a good idea, right? But also do anything unless it has access to things. So it's like if you wanted to do, so you're going to have to give it access. I guess you can just know you're starting from nothing. And so, but you can give it access to your emails, just anything like your communications, anyway, it's interesting.
It's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I'm incredibly suspicious, and I will.
Is anyone in the chat? I'm curious if anyone in the chat has set it up this weekend.
That's a good question.
I am not like the first person to try anything out, as you know. I think we're still early. We're early.
I call myself semi-early. Like I want, like even with, honest to God, with updates, I do not let my phone auto update because so many times that first new thing that Apple will put out there always has bugs, and it's like, give me 26.02, and then I'm in. Right? Like I don't want the 0. I want it after you guys fix some stuff. I don't need to be first. So,
and things move so fast, right? So, I think it was was it just 2 weeks ago where everybody was talking about Claude Code, which also, it was just, that was the entire timeline.
Yeah.
So guess what I did last night?
What did you do?
I set up Claude Code.
You set up Claude Code.
I'm a little behind them. And even though I was like, oh, should I do Claude Bot? And it's like, well, I didn't even do Claude Code yet. So I got to do that. I got to do things in order.
Do that first. Yeah. Do it in order. All right. Well, I'm excited to hear your experience with Claude Code and if you ever get to the Claude Bot, but I'm a little leery.
I think you should be. It's like,
and I think normies should be very much so. Like, I think if you're a dev and you know what the heck you're doing, it's a different story. Because you might be able to set some other parameters and whatever. You'll know what to look for if something goes wrong. But if you're just screwing around and you think I can vibe code anything now, you probably can. Take a pause on that. Be careful out there. All right, moving on. We've got a few other things. Again, it's been a little quiet, but we got a few things to talk about. We have this from Nanar, speaking of bots that can help you do stuff. Introducing Nanar Studio on web. We've expanded the Nanar Studio to work beyond just the Nanar mini app. You can now create, test, and publish Farcaster mini apps on web without writing a single line of code. Create apps with on-chain functionality, leverage native Farcaster social context and Nanar APIs, access all the code and files in your app in the Files tab, work on multiple apps at once, clearly understand the agent's progress. Try it yourself at nanar.com studio, sign in with Farcaster and Nanar to get started. So prior to this, you could do all those things, but you were doing it inside the Nanar mini app, which is kind of cool if you want to just be on your phone and doing that. But it's probably not the best surface area when you get into things that are complex. So I had times where I was like, oh, this is, getting complicated. So I'm excited. I'm excited to try this out. I've been still prepping my little mini app, which has gotten a little complicated. I ran into a little thing where I realized, this may not be the best option. I might have to do something else. So we're figuring it out. No, I'll still get it there, but I might have to use, I was going to use Spotify. I need to go to the Spotify API. And now I'm thinking about another option for what I'm doing. Sure. So yeah, that might give me a longer, longer leash. So working on that. So it's not like the Nanar part of it. It's the other parts of it.
Right.
Yeah. This from Czar. Linda is learning physics. DWR is doing Claude Code. Rish wants to make this app a builder's paradise. Horsefacts continues to shitpost. This is my kind of app now, my kind of content. Growth is Rish's concern, and I hope he has some runway. But FC seems to now be a giant group chat of like-minded people leading more towards culture of early Farcaster days. And then Cassie's note here, and there's plenty of us building other clients too. Get building. So I like the vibe right now. We'll see how it goes. But I felt good about, we had Rish on Friday chatting about the Nanar acquisition and where we're going with Farcaster. Nanar itself, the AI bot, had some great questions for our guest. So he basically got interviewed by the thing he created. So that was kind of cool. And I don't know, I'm feeling very optimistic.
AI is coming for us all, Prof.
Yeah, totally.
There will be no jobs.
There'll be no jobs, and you will like it.
I guess I would say, looking back on my entire Farcaster experience, like if you think of like what is the reason that we've stuck around, I say, I guess I've stuck around. It's really all about builders.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the one through line. So if this is where the emphasis is right now, it makes me happy.
It makes me very happy. Yeah. I'm very optimistic, and I'm happy with like that focus. And that's what we've always focused on here as well. So yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. It was a little quiet this weekend, but it's been quiet on weekends. So it wasn't much different.
I don't love the growth as Rish is concerned. I mean, it's cute. It's cute. But
kind of is.
I
mean, where's the lie? But
I know, but still for all of us building, I mean, going back to like, you do need people using the app if you're building, if you're building mini apps or other clients, you do need people using it. You do need growth. It's otherwise like, why not just create a group chat with with your like-minded people?
We do need growth.
Like that exists already. Yeah.
Yeah. We do need growth. For sure. This from DWR. So he said, PSA, planning to unfollow everyone and rebuild my follow graph slowly. Don't take it personally. And then he said, it's done. So he did a big, he did a big clean out. So are you going to check to see if you're still, all of a sudden she started to type. Are you checking?
I was trying to quickly remind people it's not your worth if Dan doesn't follow you.
If Dan doesn't follow you, it is not your worth. Just a friendly reminder, because we know people get upset. We know people get a little concerned and they feel like, all the things. But really, it's not your worth. And just a reminder really quick here. It's not your worth.
It's not your worth.
It's not your worth. You are good enough. You're smart enough. And gosh darn it, people like you. All right, moving on. But it was kind of funny to see that when he did that. I'm like, whoa, all right. And then this was also kind of funny. Cassie said, DWR and V, now that Merkle is shutting down, can you publish the pitch deck for educational purposes? I think a lot of us early stage founders would benefit from a master class. Here is the master class, Farcaster pitch deck, and the end of deck. So in other words, there isn't one. So I found that interesting, but he said, in all seriousness, spent roughly a decade in Silicon Valley working and building a network, spend nearly 2 years bootstrapping and making public progress, raise money based on network in progress, network order of magnitude, more important, maybe 2. So really good thread here if you want to learn more about sort of the thinking around this. Also, they had he was having a really good discussion with Cassie about, well, what if you don't have that network? How do you get there? Okay, some of this is timing. Some of that is true, of course. But even within your own smaller networks, you can make some really strong connections, especially on Farcaster. So do good work and it will be seen. And hopefully that will lead to what you're looking to do. But interesting to see that. And then, that was more of this. I think it was, do I have I guess I didn't have the TLDR one. I thought I had TLDRs. TLDR casted something else, but he said he completely agree with this. Working on in front of people over time and impressing them is the surest form of merit. And I agree with that, but it's not always easy. And, networks are not always easy to crack. But also I think the point here is that it's not always, the pitch deck isn't going to move the needle as much as you think as it might. Cold calling with pitch decks rarely moves the needle. It's when you're, if you're in front of someone and you're using the visuals to describe what it is, the thing that you're creating, that's a little different. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, and you've had more experience on the investor side of this. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I would just say as a founder, I actually think creating a pitch deck can also help clarify thinking.
Yes, that's true.
Too.
I agree with that.
So I generally think, creating like writing long form, creating presentations, doing kind of writing, isn't a wasted exercise. It's like, and as far as investing, I have, in terms of what we've like zero, I actually don't do very much early stage, but there's always been a deck for anything I've seen.
Yeah, so, there's usually a deck. But you can understand like how it's not always the thing that moves the needle. But
no,
of
course not.
But I do agree with the idea of like sometimes it helps you get your ideas in order, even if it's not things you necessarily put in front of someone. It helps you to present it in a better way. And like a 30-second elevator pitch is a real thing. Because a lot of times that's all you have with somebody. Like you don't have, long to make that impression. So those first 30 seconds to a minute are really important. All right. Especially with everyone's attention spans just going to hell. This from Samantha along the same lines. I think the better your network is, the less likely you have to follow the traditional path to fundraising. One of the companies I previously worked with also raised with no deck. It's uncommon, but not unknown. And that was responding to V saying there wasn't one. So just interesting, very interesting. And Samantha is, I think she was Y Combinator as well in that crew. So she knows some things. She makes candles now, but don't let that fool you. She ain't just a candle lady. This from Dish. Check out Clanker.Space and give Captain Clankit a follow. Nounspace team has been continuously shipping, iterating, and built a beautiful product that I think can benefit any token community. So this was in response to Willy Wonka. We just quietly released Clanker.Space, a customizable Farcaster client, aka space system, for the Clanker ecosystem. Clanker Space is the second space system powered by blank.space. First one was nounspace.com and is the culmination of almost 2 years of building and learning. So go check that out at Clanker.Space. So very cool. And congrats, Willie and team, on getting that done. This was like the big news that I was seeing all over my timeline was that Phil and crew opened up Node Foundation's location, IRL location in Palo Alto. And this was from D. Fern, who said, I will stand in this line now until Node Foundation opening in Palo Alto this January. And then he said, I lied. Holy shit, this is a long line. It's a long line. But there were some incredible videos coming out and photos coming out of the space. This one was really good. I'm not going to share the sound, but very cool. This place looks amazing. I had so much FOMO. I really thought about going and I had wanted to in the fall and then I just couldn't make it happen. But this, so much FOMO. It's amazing. This looks incredible. So congrats, Phil and team. That was really what an opening that you had. Here's this piece by Beeple, Diffuse Control by Beeple, like amazing. This is like a real sculpture made from screens and just insane. Just incredible art going on this weekend. So that was making me feel good. And this was the Beeple, which is also my background, that he had put out there as his everyday. Welcome home. So now it's a home for the CryptoPunks. I see DB down there. Welcome, DB. We'll be with you in just a few minutes. Did you read this post by Shloms over on Twitter?
Okay. Actually, I read this post on Farcaster that someone copy pasted it word for word, verbatim. And I don't know who, I forget who it was, but someone copied it.
I had just copied the link over. It was really good. So I'd highly recommend you read it. If you get confused by the end, you got to read to the end. If you get confused at the end, then read the comments. But I don't want to give you any spoiler alerts. But this is from Shloms, who's an artist.
An adventure in vibe coding.
Yes, an adventure in vibe coding. So I vibe coded a crypto trading bot with Opus 4.1, and now I've lost everything. So just start from there, read it. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. So go take a peek. This from Mike.eth. All right, taking a little break to relax. My Claude is hooked up to Banker and has a wallet to trade with and will use the agent API to ask it questions to get alpha. Made itself a Nanar skill by wrapping the MCP server to get alpha from Farcaster, is set up to send me a report of its trading strategy and progress every 3 hours. Let's see how this goes. And I think I saw an update. Oh, here it is. Not looking great, fam. But the show goes on. I mean,
great idea for
it might have been
bot.
the timing. Yeah. It really might not be your fault. There was a little bit of a flash crash. So I don't know if we can absolutely blame the bots for that one. This from Abraham from Splits. Custom transactions are now live. Call any contract function directly, paste in the address, choose a function to call, enter parameters. No more connecting to block explorers. Very cool. Go, if you're not using Splits, if you have a team, if you have a business where you are, doing transactions in crypto, I definitely recommend you check out Splits and learn more about that. They are cooking. They've been dropping features left and right. So it's been very cool to see. Jacek was supposed to be with us on Friday. But when he scheduled that, he did say to me, I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it if my child is born that week. And here we go. Baby daughter was born today. I will be offline for the next 2 weeks while I focus on mom and the baby. DGen initiatives will keep moving forward in the background. So just an FYI, I assume he's not joining us on Friday. Sent him a little message and said we'll reschedule at some other time. So congratulations to Jacek and his lovely wife and the new baby girl. And lastly, if this will pop up, I'm working on a mini app. So in this thread, go drop your favorite song with the name of the artist in the replies, and it might be included in what I'm building. And also I might give like early access or some kind of benefit to anyone who drops a song here. So go check that out. All right. Let me reset for our friend here, DB, who I see in our green room. For our ClankCaster spotlight. So we need to get all ready here. Really excited to chat about Intori. And Intori really has a focus on creating closer connections within Farcaster and within your social network. So let me get my little overlay up here. Is this the right one? Let's bring Intori up to the stage. Welcome, DV.
Hello.
Welcome, DV. Hello. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me all right?
We can hear you perfectly. Excellent.
Nice. Thanks for having me.
We're excited to have you here. You were supposed to clank though, Adrian. You didn't clank when I had the cover on there. She forgot to clank.
My apologies. It'll come later. I'm gonna.
Okay. All right. Just get it ready. So we're excited to have you here. Let's chat about, let's start with maybe a little background about you. How did you end up on Farcaster? And then let's dive into why you built Intori and like what you're hoping to do with that. Cool.
Well, thanks for having me. The last name is Bullers, so like bullers.
Yeah, he heard me tripping over that.
I did hear that. And I can't say I love your hat either because I'm a Steelers fan and I don't like seeing the Patriots in the Super Bowl again. But, you know, what you going to do?
What you going to do? What you going to do? If I had a yellow towel, I would flip it around for you. I mean, never had
what type of host are you? Like you're welcoming people into our home and you're flaunting this hat? Like
I'm absolutely flaunting the hat.
I would do the same if my team was going to the Super Bowl. I'd do the same thing. I was going to say, I got my hat. Do you remember this hat?
I can't remember that one. I have to wait a minute. I have to go a little closer. Which hat is that?
Whenever they first released Frames 1, Coinbase ran
the penny
promotion.
Yes.
So I had a little nostalgic. I had to throw it up. So if you paid a penny in USDC in the frame, they would send you a hat. And now they don't make pennies anymore. So that's kind of crazy.
Ooh.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I never ended up with one of those hats, and I don't know why. I think I went to buy it and it was already sold out, or something weird happened. I couldn't get it. But that is a great hat. That is a fantastic hat.
Yeah,
awesome
so
selection.
Just do some quick backstory. I've been on Farcaster for a while. It's been a little bit sad over the past week. It's a change, just trying to figure out what's going to happen next. I put up one message just saying how I remember whenever Dan onboarded me at the very beginning, and then in this last trip up to New York a few months ago to be with the team, I was sitting next to V on the having dinner, and it's just kind of like full circle moment where it's sad to see they won't be around anymore. And Linda's been so awesome working with her. Out of all the ecosystems, she's like the best person to actually respond in DMs and everything. And it's just been a while, but I've also been working with Rish and Naynar and their team through Building for a while, and they're awesome. So it's bittersweet. I'm sure the sentiment's the same across the board, where it's a transition. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so I've been around Farcaster for a while.
So did you come in with a best email situation? Was it best email, or how did you?
It sounds like he came in during Dan's onboarding his personal network on a Google Meet.
Ooh,
it was very early. I was
super
building Intori at the time, which I think we were still using the same name. We were building kind of like a decentralized Facebook clone, where at that point you would connect your NFTs for your communities and kind of have a place to communicate. So you'll see as I talk about today, it's kind of been pushing the same idea all along. But I reached out to Dan because I'd heard about Farcaster, and we were connecting through DMs, and then he got me onboarded. So I think my FID is like 800 and something. So it's been a while. But I've been at Farcaster for a while, building specifically since the on-chain summer, 2 summers ago. So right around the time when they first released Frames V1, Intori's first iteration was for channels. So if you've used the app or been using it ever since, basically, if you remember the frames, you were able to like click and interact and do the arrows shift over. So in that version, we would allow the admins of a channel to have their own questions, and then they would post it into their feed, and then people inside the chat could answer the questions and click through, and then we'd show them 5 people from the membership list that closely relate to them. So we're trying to connect people. Obviously, if you go into these different channels or groups, you don't really know all the people that are in it, or people that are actually real people, or people that want to be there and want to connect. So we want to surface people that want to be around and connect and learn more about other people. So that was our initial version. Since then, we've gone on to build our mini app that we have now. And I've been a community member all along. I've been in Club TED group chat, kind of kept me around for a while. We could talk about that later, but just how group chats play a significant role in keeping people together and on the platform. So there's a lot of different things actually I'd like to talk about today. I kind of messaged in my original post about, I spent a lot of time thinking about the attention economy, about decentralized social. So kind of that plays a big role. What's going to happen next with Farcaster? Now lensing is gone and different things. And just basically keeping people together. What's this new world going to be like now that we're talking about AI and agents and everybody just giving all your data to them to do things for you? And where do people exist? So,
So I have a couple questions. Let's step back just to Intori first, and then let's jump to all of that other really good combo. So how are you figuring out, like you mentioned, to make sure you're connecting with real people? Like, how are you, what's sort of behind the scenes that's trying to help to make sure it's somebody, who's a real human rather than random spam bot kind of thing?
That's a really good question. And it's not a simple answer. And this, I think anyone out there that's building mini apps sees the opportunity in Farcaster building mini apps would probably like to listen now, because I've done this for a while and I've seen the amount of spam that can come into these apps. I've seen what incentivizing through extraction of tokens and getting quick money. And I could give you a list of the accounts that are known farming platforms. So we've seen it all. We've obviously tapped into what NANAR provides with their spam score. That's been great. So we have that. A lot of people that create an app can kind of just start at that 0.5, 0.6 threshold, just basically say, you can't use our app. So we did that for a while, but that only provides some benefit, because what you'll see once you start building is everybody that comes in will get a 0.5. So you don't want to kick out the real people that are just now coming into the platform. Like, I've tried to onboard friends to use our mini app, and like, they can't get in because they aren't casting, or they just don't have a high enough score. And so you don't want to have that. So we have an internal quality score as well. So what we do is we track how many, like, your cast history, if you're just spamming out shared casts, if you have a legitimate Twitter X account tagged to your account, if you're doing things rapidly in motion in the platform, claiming, which we previously had claims in the platform. So there's a lot of different things. We also have a quality score. So we do a mixture of the NANAR score, our own quality score, but then even with that, you can't completely block out the spam. So in our platform, what we try and do is have a range threshold of who you see and who you connect with. So if you're a known spammer or trader and you're living in that 0.4, 0.5, lower, slightly higher, those are the people we'll connect you with. And if you're up around 1.9 on the spam score, then we'll try and show those people first. So not only are we blocking some accounts, putting you into a quality score, but we're also trying to put you to meet with the people that are in that same range.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Yeah. But that's also not the end of the story, like,
right.
We've seen a lot with now that Base is allowing people to join in from their 800,000 million member list. I could tell you a very large percentage of that is not real accounts. So you have to deal with that. And then something else I'll talk about later is we're going to be porting over to World. So we're going to be bringing in the proof of humanity.
So that's actually, let's talk a little bit about that. So with World, are the only people who have access to World apps the ones who've done the orbs, or no?
No. So they have the verified human. So that's what our app will be. This is the first I've talked about it. So the official announcement is that we are bringing our application to World app. We've been working with the foundation for several months now. So that's going to be really big. I think it's going to be big for Base, Farcaster, and World, because what World does not have is a social feed. They don't have profiles. They don't have information about the users. What they have done recently is incorporate XMTP. So they have chat, which I think is going to be a real big unlock for us, because if you use the Intori app, once you connect with someone, then you can message them. So we'll bring that to them, but we'll also bring the ability to connect with other people, which they have a similar ecosystem where you could just create these World apps. A lot of them are the gaming, gambling, ephemeral apps like we see on Farcaster, but not so much the social connections. So to answer your original question, you can have verified human only, which is the orbs, or you can have anybody who's created an account. So me personally, I don't have a verified account yet. I'm in Southeastern North Carolina. The closest orbs are in Florida and Texas. So I do plan to get verified so that I can use the app. But I do have just an account I created several years ago. And I did go through recently they added a passport verification. So I did verify through my passport, which gives you some added functionality, but you can't get into the human verified apps. And that's where we're going to start. We want real people that have been verified, and then they'll be able to use our app.
So I've had a couple times where I've had an opportunity to do the orb. And again, I think there's something in me that just goes immediately like, I can't do that. I just can't do that. And so I'm wondering, like, do you have any hesitation about that, about somebody having that sort of data on you? Or I'm not even sure. I know they supposedly don't keep it. They just do a verification, and then supposedly it's not captured. How are you feeling about that?
I'm not an advocate I'm not here as someone employed by World to go and tell you to do this. But as someone who has been in this space since 2017, my focus has always been decentralized identity. And I talked to Sandro, who was one of the builders of the orb, I think it was about 2 years ago, they were interviewing me to head up World ID. And I did a lot of research at that time to understand how it works. And it is very safe. They're not digesting all of your data and then it's going to be accessible by somebody else. It's just, you're going to get the hash and then that's going to be it. And I would tell anybody that it's fine to do that, because let's talk about this. Previously, you guys were talking about Claude and other things. People are literally just turning over all of their data to these agents and these AIs, and everybody's going to want to do that because it's providing ease to your life. You're going to hand over control to things that you don't want to be done. So if your concern is using one of these orbs that they spent many years on developing, that someone's going to steal your identity is already out there.
True.
So don't think too much about it, but it's still your decision to make. We're building applications on Farcaster and mini apps now because you don't need that PII. I don't have to ask you your name, your location, your phone number, all that stuff. That's what's so cool about it. And I love building in the space and providing that. But at the same time, if you're trying to connect people through personal interests and things, you still need some of that information, because you can't just have all these anon accounts that are just into trading and making money. There's real people behind a lot of these, and there's going to be real people behind these agents that are going out there for you in the future. So, I mean, do what you want, but I think that if it's going to provide you access to other verified humans, it could be a real benefit.
That's a great point. And I appreciate that, because you have way more insight than I do as somebody who hasn't worked in that space or hasn't talked to the folks who have actually created this. So I really appreciate that additional information to kind of make me feel a little better about it. I've always just been, I don't know, there's been this like immediate hesitation about it for some reason.
You're scanning your eyeballs and you've seen sci-fi movies and there is hesitation there.
I just like feel a little
Prof,
nervous.
did you ever do like 23andMe or any of like the...
I did, and I kind of regret it now. So that's another thing. You know what I mean? Not 23andMe, but I did Ancestry.com. I think it was that one. Yeah. So I kind of, there's part of me that was like, I probably shouldn't have done that. Like that was a lot of data that you're handing over to somebody. So
and a centralized company, they're able to sell to someone else and then just hand it over.
So I think that's the other thing, is like after you see some of those things that have been out there for a while and you see the sort of push, what happens later on when the company gets sold and stuff like that. That's another part of my hesitation. But also it was kind of cool to learn some things about, my background. So it's like the trade-off of those things. I did have, let me just grab this. I wanted to just show this a little bit. You had a really good walkthrough of Intori that I think is, I don't think this is the one. Is this the one? This isn't it. There's another one. Yeah, there's a one that's like a little bit deeper. Here it is. So we'll have this in our show notes for those who want to step through this and kind of learn more, because it's about a 4-minute walkthrough of how it works, from answering daily questions to collecting stamps and finding people who share what you're into. So is this going to be the same app on all these different, basically sharing the same thing? So like if somebody's on World, they could find you and then maybe connect with you on Farcaster or something like that? Or is it separate sort of box playgrounds, if you will?
The goal is to have it all together. But right now you can go into your Farcaster app, you can go into your base app, you can use Quorum, anywhere that mini apps are available, you can use and have the same data across. So interoperability there exists, and I think it's super beneficial. As we roll this out on World, there is going to be a little bit of a hang up, because whenever you're not actually logging in with your Farcaster account, so there'll be a little bit of a disconnect. But the goal really is to help both worlds, lack of better words, because as I mentioned before, they don't have the social element connectivity over on World, which we could provide. But then over on Farcaster, we have the lack of proof of human. And now with base, we're seeing it's becoming more and more difficult to connect with real people. So if you have an account, would be the goal. If you're like me and you have an account on both, then it just adds added benefit to, you'll have that World verified badge on your account and you'll see that on Farcaster. Or if someone's on World and they're like, oh, I want to go, they may see someone in their results of someone to meet with, or there's this thing called circles now in our app. So if it's specific interest, like I get a stamp for, I'm a sports fan, so I can go in and see the members that have that stamp. They're also sports fans, and you can click on a profile. I could pull up a demo if that would help. But essentially, if you're on World and you see someone that's not on World but on Farcaster, that you can see all the information. I want to connect with them. You can't directly message them through our app because it's XMTP and it's not Farcaster. So they may go and set up an account on Farcaster so that they can then communicate with them and connect. So you'll see, hopefully, have people coming in on both platforms, and then that will help us get some more people over at Farcaster, because on our app where it's thousands of people. I mean, when we originally had the earlier version of the app, you could answer questions as much as you want each day. There were no restrictions. So we quickly got up to 1 million answers. I think we allowed in 17,000 people or accounts. There's closer to like 30,000, which we had to block a bunch. But you're really only getting hundreds of daily active users. What they say on World is we should quickly get tens of thousands of users, verified humans, and they have millions of verified people. So I would like to think that we should be able to boost some of the usage over on Farcaster of real verified humans, which would be at a benefit.
That'd be great.
And I'd like to see, there's other things I think could be in the works. We had to strip down and change the app a lot because Base we have the Base token over on our tokens into, and World does not have a bridge for that. So I think that there are talks about maybe having an easier bridge for tokens. And then I think there was even talks recently about people, not on either side, but in the communities talking about standards, like why is there not, a similar standard across the board? So I think if there's more and more of these different projects from Farcaster mini apps that see the opportunity on World and vice versa, and there's a benefit, we might see the ecosystems, become more collaborative.
I wanted to ask you about the token as well. So you launched it via Clanker. What was sort of the purpose? Like, do you have any thoughts in mind in terms of the purpose, or was it mostly like have the token to sort of drive some attention to the mini app?
Yeah. So again, a little bit of history there. As I mentioned, I was in Club TED. Proxy was in that. Yeah. So whenever they first started, they launched Clanker, he was mentioning it, and just kind of, but like most things, I'll see it. I'll just kind of like bookmark it. I'm going to look back at that later. And then next thing I know, it starts to pick up steam and everybody's using Clanker. And then obviously the drama happened. But prior to that, I had met with him just to kind of understand, what's their background, what's their goal with all this. If you look back at my history, I'm not really into creating a bunch of tokens. I don't really like extractive actions. I'm not really into the gambling or the betting and all that kind of stuff, which will get you, obviously we could have gotten a lot more activity over the years by having these type of things built into our apps where people are earning more. But long story short, I met with Dish and we had a discussion, and this is right around their V2, I think, where they were starting to allow you to get a developer share up front. So we purchased 1 ETH. We also locked up, which we've never touched, 30%. That's still sitting in the original account. So a lot of that I liked, but also the people. I like Dan. I like V. I like how they ran Farcaster. I like Dish. You'll see that I want to work with people that have a long-term vision, obviously don't have bad history in this space. There was a lot that I liked about Clanker. So, that kind of had a lot of the reasoning about why we wanted a token, but also we're building on-chain products, so we are going to need a token. So what we've done is we've tried a few different things. In a previous version of the app, we had this thing called Boost. So what you could do is you can go to a specific question, or if one popped up that you're really into, like I like surfing. People may not know that from reading my feed. I don't talk much about surfing, but I would go to the question about surfing. I would click Boost. I would pay in my tokens, and that would go out to everybody so that whenever they get results, I would be one of the first ones, and you click and see what was the interest that he was interested in. It'd be surfing. So something like that, and you can cast it out to the feed. Right now, we do have Intori Plus. It's not really advertised, but if you hold 5 million into, then you can apply to be a Plus member, and that's vetted. So that's kind of like like an exclusive level of dating apps where we go and we check your account, you're a real person. Like we have, I think maybe like 50 people that are right now Intori Plus users. They get like a little icon on the app, but the goal there is in the quality system, you will get a little bit of a boost. So if we can get real people holding the token and approved for the app and getting more visibility, then that will hopefully bring in more people that are of higher quality.
That's interesting. That's a really interesting way to think about it, as well as like a opportunity, but you're still vetting. Like it's not an automatic. You can't just buy your way in. You still have to be a real person, which I like that. Exactly. You mentioned dating app. We've talked about this many times about social graphs and dating apps and how they make a lot of sense. Do you see anyone using it in that way right now, like using Intori as that type of approach, or is it more along the lines of like a LinkedIn networking kind of approach, do you think?
What we've seen is there will be the occasional message that someone will post and say, we need a dating app, or the idea is great. But crypto, social, on-chain applications are very niche or very small. The reality is there's not that many people, and of the people that are here, not many are looking to form relationships. Now, there are some features that we have talked about. Actually, we worked with operating system. So I think you're familiar with the crew over there that helps with some companies in the space. And they helped us go through like a rebrand, redesign of this new version. And one of the things that we left out, this is kind of considered a V1.5, is more localization. So like, can we connect some people that are on Farcaster or Base that are more localized, and then have a next action once you connect to meet more in a physical IRL situation? So once you get to that, I think that you can maybe move more into the dating, relationship status, what are you looking for kind of thing. But we are not at a scale yet where that would be even, worth putting time into.
I do think the verified human part of it, though, does become more important now in terms of that, as opposed, like it always was important. But I think now you're going to see so many more AI, like just better quality fake accounts that there might be a better opportunity plus there now than there has been in the past.
But plus the social graph and seeing who's friends of who.
Being able to vet a little bit better. Yeah, that's helpful.
No, go ahead, Adrian.
No, I was just saying, I guess in the meantime, until we're ready for the crypto dating app, people just have to go through Nounish Prof and myself as we decide
matchmakers.
Matchmakers.
Yeah. Okay, the official matchmakers. Perfect.
I love it. Adrian, go ahead.
I was just going to add to that. There's kind of two sides to the future of where I think this is going to go. We're going into a world where I've even posted about this recently, and I have a channel it's called AI and Us. I just put some thoughts in there over the past couple of months and year, where I don't think we're going to be living in the feeds anymore. I don't think that you're going to be going physically to a social feed and scrolling through to meet people and do that kind of thing. Because right now, this is 20 years from the creation of the Facebook home feed. At that point in time, before that happened, your network was direct. Everybody you were interacting with was a family member, a friend. You knew that person. So when the feed was created, all the content was people that you know. Now, all these feeds are algorithms. They're generated for you, and most of your content is indirect. It's non-direct connections. It's people that you don't know, and so you have to deal with that. But then now we're getting more and more content, synthetic content. It's not even created by real humans. So as we quickly move into that world, it's going to be people you don't know. It's going to be content that's not real. So what is the point of having the feed? You're going to have agents that are doing this for you. So I kind of think of it as more of like your notifications, where like, say you have agents going out there doing things for you. And then as things are important to you, you'll be alerted to that, and that'll be where your content lives. So kind of in like a world like that is where I see things going. And then to add to that, it's going to be important to understand, okay, is this real or authentic? Is this AI generated? Everything's going to be AI generated. So who controls that? That's where verified humans come in. That's where all this content about you, that you're a real person, matters. It's not going to be a matter, did DB create this or not? It's just, did DB have something to do with this being posted or presented to me? So that's why I'm super stoked about building around real people, real interests, real data about you, your preferences, your traits. What can you do with that? And how do we empower you to then do something with it?
This post that you had that was kind of related to that. Let me just dig into this, just double click on this just real quick. How much longer will we use social feeds? We're almost 20 years into the Facebook home feed era. Synthetic content is rising. Authenticity is fading. Social won't disappear, but I think this version of it is near the end. And I'm not sure about that. I don't know if it's near the end, but I take all your points very clearly, because that makes a lot of sense. But I think there's a difference between, I think all the networks are different. So my feed in something like an Instagram or a TikTok, I don't care if it's synthetic as long as it's entertaining. If that makes sense. My feed in like a Facebook, where most of those are people I've known IRL, and this is the way I connect with them online, is different than my Twitter feed of mostly people I've only met online, and a few I've met IRL after the fact. So, and that's Farcaster similar in that regard. So it's kind of like, I don't know, but I think there's something to that as to, and we see like Uno just made a pivot away from a feed, and kind of thinking about it very differently. What does a client look like? Pigeon Trade is another one. Pigeon that Borodutch is creating, where he's calling it a client that exists, but it's really just a bot. So I don't know. What do you think, Adrian, in terms of like that sort of thinking, that we're at the end of the social feed?
I don't know. I don't think we're at the end of the feed, because I think there's too much incentive and money in capturing people. Capturing people's attention. And I also think people will go more and more towards online for social needs. So, I don't know. DB, I've always appreciated your perspective, because just even before I had learned about Intori, just the things you're sharing on the feed, just as like a very pro-social, pro-human kind of connection in this world where increasingly everything is kind of less authentic and generated. I don't know where the future is. It's like, I don't know. I know. So I think.
And I kind of wanted to, and then I want to give you this as a sort of a lead in before you answer that, is this was something you had posted. Despite the noise, I'm optimistic. There's a real opportunity now to rebuild online spaces around authentic human signal instead of synthetic filler. And we'll have this link in the show notes as well. So maybe like, what are you thinking? Because you're still optimistic, but what does it look like to you moving forward in terms of social networking?
Well, at the end of the day, we're all humans. People want to connect. People want to be interacting with other humans. That's like a desire. You can take the internet, all this IRL, URL stuff out of the picture, and we want to connect with other people. It's just human nature. So that's never going to go away. More of what I talk about is kind of how this is going to happen. I think that you could just see over the past couple of weeks, and just take this into like a little segment of, now extract that out to years of how quickly this is going to change. You have people that are creating these apps within minutes, and they're sharing them with others. And most of them nearly all are going to be ephemeral apps that are single use, or, use and discard, where we may even go into a world where you literally do just create it and then it deletes itself soon after because it's no longer needed. But my point is, like we used to share photos on Instagram or through text messages, you're going to be sharing the applications you're building. And you're already seeing it now, these platforms that allow you the tools to do that, they're going to bring in social elements. so that you're now connecting with other people. You want to see what other people are building. And that's excitement on like X right now, where if you're, well, it's kind of overwhelming, but in the feed, everybody's saying, this is what I built, this is what I built, check out this, get this skill, do this thing. So the social element is there. We're still connecting with each other, but it's not in the same way that we've done it in the past. And there's even talks about, are we even going to be using mobile devices and mobile phones in a couple of years? So you have to think about, how is this going to change? So I think it's going to change a lot. I don't have the answers now of like how that's going to happen. But, going back to your point, Adrian mentioned about why I kind of try and promote the stuff that I do and have been over the years. If you've ever heard Jaron Lanier, he coined the term virtual reality. He is a very eccentric guy, and I think that you should go listen to some of his videos, but he has several books that are really important, like Who Owns the Future and about the internet and a lot of this stuff that was talked about many years ago. And I take a lot of my inspiration from him. The Honest Human Digital Economy, you'll see in my profile bio, that's what I talk about. So a lot of that stuff's kind of outdated now because things have changed so much, but it kind of goes back to the point that we've talked about for many years, and no one's really kind of solved this, but your data is valuable. Can we get to a point where your time spent online, you're getting some value out of that? Like if you take our app and then make it in the future, what I'd like to see is, okay, I am a sports fan, I am also a gamer, like those different things. Once I tell Intori that's what I like, I think that I should benefit from that, because maybe through advertising, but maybe not. But there are third parties out there that want to know that information about me. Maybe it's a third party tool that someone created, an AI agent that wants to know things sports related from me. Maybe I give that to it through an API, but I should get some value out of that. We have connected wallets now. That's a huge thing that I love about World app and Farcaster, and it's a huge unlock that Base has provided, where now transactions are instant, they're basically free, your wallet's connected. Yep. So there should be a world where we're getting some value out of that, and it's not some extractive game that you have to play all the time. It's you yourself, you're putting the data out there, so can you monetize that in some capacity? And I really think that we can. And I think that everybody that's spending this much time online digitally, you should have enough information that you can get some value out of it.
I totally agree. I mean, even, there's been times when we've talked about different platforms and things, like how can we benefit those who are in our chat and things like that. And it's, you're here, you're giving us your attention. How can we make that easier? And there's some streaming services that are doing some of that, and it's getting there. And we've seen the experiments with things like creator coins and these kind of things, but I don't think we've quite figured it out yet. I think it's still a work in progress. It feels like, anyway.
Yeah. I have a question for both of you, because you're in the weeds, you're doing this all the time, and things have changed recently with the transition from social to trading focus, and now with different teams stepping down. What are your thoughts on, I'm sure you've talked about this over the past week extensively, but where do you think we're at and the future of decentralized social? When you get on, are you trying to connect with other people, or are you just trying to push the same things that everybody's building something, so you obviously want to push that out there, but you also do want to connect with other people in some capacity?
I like seeing what people are building. I think that's one of my favorite parts of Farcaster in particular. When I'm on, I think it depends on which app you're talking about. Like I said, if I'm looking at Instagram or TikTok, I'm not looking to connect with anybody. This is entertainment. Yep. This is taking the place of me watching, Real Housewives for a minute or something like that.
It might be on in the background while you're doing that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just it's just something fun. Yeah. When I'm talking, when things like Twitter and Farcaster, I think are different. LinkedIn specifically at a professional level, which I never use. So I think it depends on what, but in terms of where we are, I've seen a lot of grave dancing on decentralized social and social fi. And I think we couldn't be further from the truth of what's happening, because they saw Lens get taken over by Mask, and then they saw this Ninar acquiring Farcaster, and immediately everyone was like, it's dead. it's not. It's like just beginning. Because for one thing, in terms of decentralized social, we can see all the problems with centralized social. So we don't even have to reiterate that. We know that. So we know that that's important, and we're still going to be trying to figure that out. And I don't think anything's changing there. In terms of the combination of social and finance, it makes perfect sense, especially when you think about things like prediction markets or even just trading in general. We've seen time and again different experiments with social trading, and if you can go back to Wall Street Bets for one of the best ones, that just took over the entire world for a brief moment in time. So we know that these things go together. It's a matter of figuring out how to make that work in the best way possible for those who are participating. So I think it's not going anywhere. I think it's a matter of like, how do we make it the most useful and interesting way to do these things? So I think the experiments are worthwhile. Adrian, your thoughts?
Yeah, agree. And I think for me personally, like I was very much attracted to the decentralization aspect of social, and just the idea of we're spending so much time on social platforms, and there's so little power we have as individual users on any of the kind of corporate owned Web2 platforms. So you spend all this time, you invest a lot of your time, you build a network, you build, there's value there. And if you don't like a new direction that something goes in, like there's no recourse. I'm sympathetic to all the developers. I mean, the concept of so for me, like I'm mostly attracted to Farcaster with the idea of like portable identity. As well as just like open social graph and open data, which means as a developer, if you want to build kind of net new experiences on top of social data, you can, and you don't have to worry about APIs getting rugged, like the ability to not be able to do it. So it's like,
or getting really expensive. We saw that happen with Twitter a lot, where it got just crazy expensive.
I used to joke with Dan all the time, and DB, I kind of agreed with you. One of the reasons I really came to Farcaster early on and then stayed is I really did have a lot of faith and trust in Dan and Varun's leadership, the decisions they were making. They built in public. I agreed with a lot of their kind of builder philosophies. But I used to joke, I was like, I wanted them to turn evil at some point to test the thesis. It was like, you're not evil. Like, I agree with how you're building. And Chris Dixon writes and Read Write Own the life cycle of corporate platforms of like attract to extract. So if you are trying to build a network, you have to attract people. So even Farcaster would give creators and developers money every week. It's like, we're paying you to post. Okay, you're attracting us.
Yes.
Great. When are you going to extract from us? Like, you're only going to, and the promise of Farcaster, because it's open, is can they turn evil? Sure, but the power switches, because as a user, if you turn evil, then I can pick up and go use another client. And I think there weren't many clients early on is because we didn't need them. You didn't need competition because people generally really liked the direction Farcaster was going in. I think that the move to trading, like, is it a coincidence? And Dan's trying to grow, and I have like really nothing but like profound respect for him and admiration. But is it a coincidence that like also that's when we saw an explosion of alt clients? It's like, oh, Chris co-created, like, how long was he building Sofa? But like he had that immediate, like it just, you're able to see competition. And I think that's what got me really excited about Farcaster, is like the protocol and kind of the potential for it, for open,
and being able to build on top, like similar to early Facebook days and that kind of thing, I think is exciting. Like building.
Like I said, I definitely agree with that. And if you're talking specifically about Facebook, any company that ended up getting popular and making a lot of revenue, then they would just shut them off and they would consume that themselves. So you definitely
build it themselves.
You don't want that. But I feel like, if I'm just speaking for most people, the sentiment right now, we're all tired. We're tired of having the same vision for 5 years, and it's tired of not, okay, we're pivoting again to something else. And I will say that I am optimistic. I was optimistic over the holidays to see that Brian and Jesse, Coinbase and Base, were out there communicating with people and trying to understand what their needs and wants are and are listening. So like in the same aspect, I feel like Dan and V were doing the same thing over the years. So there's that. I think that we have that going for us. So that's definitely optimistic.
Yeah, and I think we have to give it a little time to see, because Rish, like, they just have to get some basic things done, turning over GitHubs, all that kind of stuff of just like getting some and then see where they go from there. But I think a builder mentality still makes sense for Farcaster. I don't think it'll ever be a player at the size of Twitter. And I think that's okay. If you can find a way to make it a beneficial, high quality network that drives, builders to create really cool things that then can go on to find larger audiences outside of the initial sort of MVP space, I think there's something incredibly beneficial to that and valuable. So I don't know. I think we just,
and that's what Rich told you when you interviewed him, right? That he's bringing down the scale of expectations of what it can be. And if you think about, can any platform nowadays get to the scale of these incumbents? I don't know. I just don't think that the attention's there. And I just don't think that people are gathering in that capacity unless you have a lock-in like they had created 20 years ago.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I don't think that we'll see another of that unless it's something just completely different. Like that's why TikTok had its moment, was because it was different. Yep. I think you have to be providing something that's just completely really unique and something that we haven't seen before to grab that kind of attention. All right, what did we not cover before we wrap up that you wanted to chat about?
Can I share my screen?
Absolutely. You should be able to. Oh, let me stop sharing mine and you should be able to.
Share screen. One second.
All right, while you're doing that, we'll tell everyone, if you're on Farcaster, if you haven't checked out the Intori mini app, it's search for that and try it. And
or go to
I've already set my profile up.
At Intori is the profile. You can go there and grab the link from there.
Yeah. But I know for new people, you go through one little the onboarding flow is fun. So try that out and
appreciate that. Can you see the website?
Yep, let me add it to the stage.
Bring it up.
All right, I was just gonna hit on this real quick while we wrap up.
Perfect.
So you can go to intori.co. That's the website. Shows you everything about the app. We have a FAQ at the bottom. You can see some general questions about the application. But yeah, like you said, just go to search Intori on Farcaster app, base app. You'll find the application there. That's one thing which I'm hoping to see some improvements on both platforms is discovery of apps. We've had, unfortunately, on Farcaster app, to get in the top 100 to be visible, we've seen some gaming of that metric, and a lot of it has to do with transactions. So like in our application, we don't do so much on-chain transactions. It's just, the benefit is connecting with people and seeing things about each other. So we won't be found in the top 100, but you can hopefully in base app in the future have better discovery there. But yeah, just put in the name of the application, boot it up. As you'll see in the demo that you're going to link into the show notes, is right away you're answering 3 questions, or you're picking 3 topics that you're interested in, and you answer up to like 9 or 10 questions. And then right away you'll get stamps for those 3 that you selected. So could be fitness and wellness, it could be sports, it could be food. Just pick 3 that you're most interested in. You'll be able to claim, like on the screen right here, you'll claim those stamps, and then you'll get put into those circles. So some may have 100, 200 people in those circles, and then you could see the member list of people that are in there. But also after you answer the 5 questions, we'll show you like 5 up to 25 people to meet that you can then click into their profiles. And if you connect, there's cool things like we'll do a little summary about how you're similar or not. And then we can also give you like a vibe whenever you first create your account. Like you may be like a crypto explorer or like a techno foodie or like some kind of tag that you'll have so that you can quickly see something about other people. But yeah, it's really fun. Just go in there, collect some stamps. What we're going to do next is we're going to put those stamps on chain, and then we're going to allow you to start to accumulate multiple stamps. So right now you can only get like one per topic or circle, but then you can start to trade those. So like say I open up a pack that's like a sports pack, but maybe I'm not super into sports, I get a stamp. I could trade that with a foodie or something. And then if I can, this isn't developed yet, but the thought process around is if I can start to accumulate more of things that I'm interested in and have more stamps for things that I'm interested in, then I'll have more credibility and show up more into specific topics. So yeah, I said, just check it out. And I'm always open to feedback. Tag me, post me, DM me. I'm working on this myself every day, updating it. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
EB, are you the dev?
I am now. I took over full development fourth quarter of last year, and I have not been developing much just by circumstance. I just picked up a lot of the coding, now the tools that are available, and I'm able to do it. I do have Colin, who's also on Farcaster. He's helping get the porting over to World. As I mentioned, I worked with operating systems to do the new design rebuild. So it's not a full individual, effort, because I do pull in people from the ecosystem that have better skills than me, but I am actively pushing code every day, and I can get updates out or bug fixes whenever they come up.
That's awesome. Communal genius. A little
I wouldn't say genius. I would not say genius.
What's your AI tech stack? Are you?
I actually use, my setup right now is I use Vercel, Prisma, Postgres, Cursor, and then just recently brought Claude Code into Terminal. And you'll see that website I just updated over the weekend. So we got a full rebuild with assistance of Claude Code and in my Cursor terminal.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's a question you don't hear in many podcasts. What's your AI tech stack? You also don't hear it around, my mom's clubhouse either. Try that next
around the mahjong table.
Around the mahjong table, Hey, I'm just wondering, what's your AI tech stack?
It's only a matter of time.
I know. When we get to the nursing home, it will be.
Yeah.
But
by the way, I wrote about this or cast about it last week, but I just learned about Gemini's Canvas. And I don't know if you've used that at all, but it's through Gemini's, just like their chat interface. One of their tools is called Canvas. So you can ask it for UI redesigns and
that's what you were using for the website, right?
And our mini app for redesign. Yeah. So you can give it an existing website and ask to redesign it with I had asked it to make our mini app or our website more professional and sophisticated, and it'll kind of give you a concept and with the code behind it. Nice. And then you can kind of copy that, then move that over to your IDE, wherever you're, whether it's Claude Code or Cursor, and kind of iterate and implement it. But I struggle with the UI stuff and design, and I was so impressed at how kind of slick it was, and how
that's so helpful. I'm kind of, I don't know if I'd say traditional, but I do a lot of commits, a lot of PRs, a lot of small minor improvements. So I don't think anytime soon I'll be in the mode of like one prompt, go build it. But I'm getting there.
I'm the same way too, by the way. And also my background's DevOps, which is all CI/CD, tiny, small commits. Like I don't do big anything. But the beauty also is if you build things modularly, it's like from a back end, like you can kind of give a new UI look without a lot of major rewrites.
No, not much trouble at all. Yeah, so it was fun to play around with. That was my first time playing with Claude Code, and I'm going to do it we have a Tomb Technologies website that hasn't been touched in years. There's a lot of 404 errors if you go to it. So I'll probably refresh that this week.
How fun. Yeah. Adrian, anything else that we didn't touch on before we wrap?
The only thing I want to ask is, it sounds like you're really primarily focused on like the end user, like the people of the internet trying to connect. Have you thought at all, and maybe it's too soon, I can almost see providing a lot of the Intori data as a service to other people building apps. It's like through APIs of like giving information about people.
Yeah. Do you have time for another episode?
Are you doing it?
No, I'm saying there's so much I could talk about. There's two immediate things that I'd like to go into. One is we do have capabilities built in now to where you could see 2 weeks out what the daily themes are going to be. So each day is a different theme. So one possibility is that we will have an approach where companies or people can come in and sponsor days in the future, similar to like what you see with QR, where like maybe Bracky would want to come in and hit up the sports day a week from now and then have a URL link as a sponsored day for that theme. So that's one thing. But to your question, that would be the amazing end goal is Adrian's going out. She's going to vibe code an app. It's a wellness app. You don't want to connect your ChatGPT and it know all your history. You may want to share it with a friend. If they're using Intori and you have hundreds or thousands of pieces of content around that specific wellness and health, then I can allow you, or we can allow you to port that into your application and immediately feed in a user experience based on data that you own, that you don't have to, at that point in time, go through a tutorial about all that information. You've just done it and it's there.
Cool.
So
I can see a lot of possibilities there. It seems like where even like if you're building a new app, you want to give early access to, if you're building a health and fitness app, I want to give early access to all these folks who, real people who are already
that they are into that. Yeah. But I'd wanted to do it for you as an individual, access your data first. It would not be some other party. If it ever gets to that point, it's going to be complete consent of you as an individual. It's not going to be us giving that to anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. This has been awesome. Thank you, DB. This has been so fun.
Appreciate
to hang out with you. We really appreciate you popping by. I'm excited to see new developments coming from Intori and see where that goes. Anything else, Adrian, as we wrap up?
One thing.
Go ahead.
Is that the clank?
That's the clank.
There it is.
I missed it earlier.
The clank.
I've been waiting to clank.
She's off on the side with her.
It's got a little clank. It's actually a sound of Moon Poppy clanking pans. Yes, it really is. All right, thank you, DB. And I'm going to throw our little overlay up. This was our Clancaster Spotlight. We loved having you here. I'm going to take you off the stage. Thanks so much for being here with us. Adrian, anything else before we wrap today?
I guess we can just tease our schedule for the rest of this week.
And DB, if you want to hang out for a minute, we'll be in the green room in just a second. Wednesday we have CreatorFi coming on, Rachel Wilkins, and 5 of the folks who went through the CreatorFi workshop, the boot camp. Really excited about that. And then Friday, we were going to have Yasik on, but
TBD.
Not anymore. So TBD on that one. Very excited. So anything else, Adrian, before we wrap today?
No.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us in the chat, and go check out Intori. We'll see you on Wednesday. We'll be on at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. We do have that crew coming on with us, and some of them didn't want to wake up at 5:30. So we'll see you all on Wednesday. And until then, bye-bye. Thanks for joining us for this episode of GM Farcaster. And thank you to all our partners and HyperSub supporters bringing this episode to you. Follow the GM Farcaster channel for all the latest updates and add our mini app on Farcaster and the base app. Until next time, bye-bye.